Eva and Kevin were sitting in the car on their way back home, without Elena, who was with Louis, who had taken her to their mansion to heal her injuries. Their personal teams of healers were enough to treat Elena's injuries, as she had no internal injuries. Her broken bones could be fixed within a few days using potions. There were potions that could fix internal injuries quickly, but to withstand the mana in them, you needed to be of a higher rank. Why did you stop me? I could have avenged Elena right there. Kevin, who had been silent for a while, spoke up after a long time. Eva looked at him and sighed. She can get away with it because the Rothschilds have a similar status to the Grevilles, but do you want to drag your family into this mess because of this? Her answer made Kevin realize her point. Kevin, I am also quite angry right now, but we can have our chance when the World Academy starts. She continued. Elena only lost because we didn't know that damn bastard was already an awakened person. Eva gritted her teeth. Kevin was surprised, as Eva usually never used such words, as she was always calm despite the situation. But it seemed like seeing her friend like that had made her quite angry. Don't worry, even if Emilia tries to stop me, I will avenge Elena at the World Academy, Kevin spoke. Yeah, my family would also not interfere in this matter when we enter there. Eva said, as the World Academy was a gathering of talents and duels were common there. The mood was a bit heavy, so they didn't speak much during the ride. Louis, who was sitting on a chair beside Elena, who was sleeping on the bed, looked at her and clenched his hands so much that blood started dripping from them. Damn, why did I agree to her plan? If only I had stopped her. He saw the maids enter to take care of Elena, so he stopped talking and stood up and left the room. He arrived in his bedroom and walked around from one end to another. His emotions were out of control as he felt his ego taking over his rationality at this moment. How will I explain all this to James? He threw a vase at the wall angrily. His mind was not working properly, as anger clouded his judgment. He took his phone and sent a text. Less than LR greater than, contract for assassination, target, Asher Greville, price, doesn't matter. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In an underground building in some unknown continent, a person received a text on his system and opened it, as it was from a VIP member. Contract for assassination. I should just send it to the boss directly. The man forwarded the message to his boss, seeing the message was from a VIP. In a gym-like room, a shirtless man with a spider tattoo on his back was practicing his reflexes against a training golem, but he stopped as he saw a text on his phone. He took his towel to wipe his sweat and picked up his phone to check it out. Ads by Pub Future. Contract from a VIP, sounds like some money. He laughed and started to check the description of the job. Target. Asher Greville. Greville. What the F asterisk asterisk. Who is this retard that posted this job to us? He couldn't know the name of the person who posted this job, as the client's identity remained hidden for such shady organizations. He dialed a number and spoke. Whoever sent this contract, reject it and block him. That bastard is trying to get us all killed. He shouted at his underling, who didn't know what had gone so wrong for his boss to react so much. Okay boss, he immediately sent the message back to the client. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Louis, who received a text, looked at his phone. Less than spider greater than, contract rejected and you have been blocked. Seeing the text, Louis' anger once again rose up as he threw his phone at the wall, breaking his phone and making a hole in the wall at the same time. Listening to the commotions, some of the guards came in, but Louis, who was annoyed, just sent them back angrily. I will return this humiliation back, Louis said as he remembered the indifferent face of Asher telling him to get out. It was late in the morning and everyone had gone back. The twins had gone back to sleep and Damien also left after chatting with Amelia and Asher a bit. Asher was in the living room sitting across the rest of his family. Now Brat, tell me, how did you become even more of a battle freak than your father? Nathan spoke. Watch your words, old man, or next time my sword might just break those old bones of yours. Arthur immediately spoke to defend himself. Can we not do this? Amelia, who was clearly tired from all this, voiced her opinion. Yeah, but I need to say this now. Amelia, you should stay away from those kids. Seeing that they don't even know how to respect others while attending their events shows their future a lot. Sylvie told Amelia. But they were not like this when I met them 6 months ago back in Desmer. Amelia tried to defend them a bit. And Asher, be a bit more moderate at the World Academy. We cannot interfere with their rules, Sylvie advised him, to which Asher just nodded. So when do we start their training? Arthur questioned Nathan. Contemporary romance. Let the kids rest today. Me and this brat can start tomorrow, Nathan replied. They talked some more. Most of the time it was just Nathan and Arthur giving each other cheap comebacks. Amelia didn't bother stopping them anymore, as she felt this would drain more of her energy. Asher got up and decided to leave the room, but he stopped as he heard Sylvie. Asher, you didn't tell us who sent you that painting. Sylvie remembered and decided to ask him. Nothing, just a painter I came across on my Pixtagram profile. Asher smiled and walked back to his room. There was a good 10 seconds of silence in the living room. He smiled. Amelia had her mouth opened as she pointed at the staircase. Did you guys see what I saw? Nathan was stupendously looking at Arthur and Sylvie. He smiled for the second time now. Sylvie spoke as she was more happy than surprised than her first time. For her, it seemed that her son was finally opening his locked heart. Second time. Amelia shocked turned her head towards Sylvie. But who was that gift from to bring out this side of him? Arthur was curious as he thought about it. I don't think he would tell us, so let's respect his wishes for now, Sylvie warned Arthur as she knew him best. Nathan was silent as he thought about many things and decided to leave the room. I will go back to my room for now. He immediately disappeared from the room, leaving the three baffled people behind. As he arrived in his personal chambers, he sat down on his seat and closed his eyes for a while before opening them again. He is showing emotions now, so should I teach him my own arts or not? Nathan pondered this. He was not sure whether to teach Asher the Greville family art or the style which gained him the title of the Sword God. Although Nathan, being a great sword user, could not actually fully teach Asher his swordmanship, but the basics were the same. The only issue was Nathan being worried about Asher's nature. Nathan always felt that Asher didn't feel attached to anything, which made him skeptical about teaching such deadly arts to him. Although he was famous for cruelty towards his enemies and his deadly sword arts, he never let his bloodlust cloud his emotions. But seeing Asher gave him some doubts. But his last smile unknowingly helped Nathan arrive at his conclusion. Even his movements today were the best implementations of what he watched and learned in his training when he was young. But in reality, that was not the full potential of Asher. He was skilled in attacking people with the intention of killing them in his mind, so he was holding back a lot to not target Elena's vital points intentionally while fighting. Asher, who had just arrived in his room, walked up to the painting and looked at it for a minute before changing into more casual clothes. Unlike other members of his family, Asher disliked having maids come into his room for small tasks, so he restricted access to his room unless it was important or he had called for someone. He enjoyed his alone time, as it allowed him to think things through. He stared at the painting for a long time and finally spoke, "Should I just interfere with everything?" Asher immediately dismissed the thought. Although he liked to get things done quickly, he knew that what he felt about the future might not be the same for others. "Let's wait until the academy to start my plan," he said as he took his phone and sent a message of thanks to the person who painted this picture. His face appeared calm, but it was not indifferent. Although slightly, his chaotic thoughts and raging bloodlust were calmer for now. It was still afternoon and he didn't want to waste his time, so he decided to go do his daily training. Tea was early in the morning and Asher, who had just arrived at the training ground, spotted the twins who were also waiting for Nathan to arrive. The training ground was a huge room covered in white tiles and with a transparent rooftop. Nathan arrived shortly after. He was wearing a white shirt and pants which did not hide his large muscles. His sharp red eyes and his height of 6 feet 8 made him very imposing to anyone who saw him. Amelia, who was a mage, did not attend the session as she would not be learning sword art. The twins were going to learn basic martial arts and breathing techniques that would help them when they went through their awakening. So only Asher would learn from Nathan for the 2 weeks and the twins would only come for Nathan to correct their mistakes. "Brats, get ready because my training is not soft at all," Nathan laughed as he channeled his mana to make a barrier that prevented anyone from noticing what was happening inside it. This was his extra measure for safety because he was going to teach them the method that had been passed down through the Greville family for generations. The method Nathan was going to teach the twins helped mages, but it helped sword users the most. Only after their awakening would their path be decided. If a person had a larger mana pool and fewer mana veins, they would choose the path of a mage. If a person had more mana veins and less mana pool, they would train their body more to increase their weapon mastery. Although several other reasons also made people choose many different paths. Seeing that the twins were excited about their first class, Nathan looked at them and said, "This edgy brother of yours will demonstrate the basic martial art technique for you too." Nathan jokingly said. He turned and looked at Asher. The twin looked towards Asher. Lucas was the most excited to learn from Asher as he already took him as his role model. Okay. Asher did not reject his demands and started doing various moves. He started with the basic posture and slowly moved his legs and hands. The coordination and form were truly enchanting. The twins watched him, impressed by his beautiful demonstration. Even Nathan was praising Asher in his mind. "This brat learned this in a day. I wonder how much time will these two take?" Nathan pondered. "Right, so you watched it, now try to move as he did," Nathan spoke. As Asher stopped, "What?" The twins looked at each other and then looked back at Nathan. They only watched it once and half of the time they were busy admiring Asher, so they missed what he was doing. "Yeah, you heard it right." Nathan's aura was domineering, so the twins quietly started doing as he asked them to. Lucas and Livia tried to copy what they remembered from seeing Asher, but unlike Asher, they looked so bad that Nathan had to stop them and tell them to start again. "No. Stretch your leg more. Don't break your posture, maintain your breathing. Feel your body more and stop relying on your eyes for everything." Nathan kept correcting them many times before they got their posture and form right. He told them to keep practicing until they were comfortable in that form before moving on to the next steps. "Now let's start with you," Nathan grinned as he looked at Asher. Ads by Pub Future. "Do you want to spar with me first so that I can see your weak points?" Nathan asked Asher. "I have no issues," he replied with an indifferent face. "TSK, let's see how long you can remain this calm in front of me," Nathan said as he picked up a wooden sword, which was not his main weapon, a greatsword. "Now pick a sword." Asher did not pick a real sword like Nathan, he also picked a wooden sword. He swung it around to get the feel of its weight and took a stance toward Nathan. "So you want me to attack first? That's quite cheeky of you, brat, but I don't mind," Nathan said as he prepared to hold back during the duel. He knew that even his normal strike could take Asher's life, so he was careful as he charged toward him. Nathan kept one hand behind his back and only attacked with the sword in his right hand. Asher carefully dodged Nathan's strikes by backstepping. He knew that blocking the attack would be pointless, so he decided to dodge it until he couldn't. "Let's see what you are hiding." Nathan was determined to clear his doubts regarding Asher. Asher stopped after going back 6 steps and quickly backtracked to his right and immediately attacked Nathan, who moved his sword in an unorthodox manner and successfully cancelled Asher's strike. What was that? Asher thought as he calmly watched Nathan's move. Even he couldn't see through Nathan's strike. Nathan had cancelled his momentum before moving his sword at an awkward angle, but the momentum was still there. Nathan started attacking Asher more vigorously. He wasn't going easy on him at all. It seemed he was trying to confirm something with the way he was attacking. Asher knew what Nathan wanted to see, but he wouldn't show it to him so soon. Thud. Asher dodged 3 of Nathan's strikes, but the last one was not dodgeable, so he decided to counter it. The sword's force pushed him back and broke his stance. Contemporary romance. What happened? Is this all you have? Nathan mocked him as he kept striking him. He decreased the force behind his attacks so Asher could counter them. Asher was keeping his killing intent locked in, but Nathan's ruthless attacks were not helping him at all. It was enough time for him to show what Nathan wanted to see. He knew that Nathan was suspicious of him and wouldn't let him leave until he got what he wanted. "If you want to see it that much, I will show you," Asher thought as he immediately took a big leap away from Nathan. He channeled his mana into his legs and pushed himself away from Nathan, who stopped to see what Asher would do next. A small notification popped up in front of him and disappeared quickly. Less than Ash sword art used greater than. Asher stopped and let his hands go, breaking his previous stance and changing the way he was breathing. His eyes were now sharp, and his hand kept the sword pointed toward the ground. He started walking towards Nathan, who was waiting to see Asher's next move. Asher immediately charged towards Nathan at a high speed, but Nathan's eyes could see his slow movements easily. At the exact moment Asher's sword was about to touch Nathan's sword, he immediately shifted his weight and used his left leg to turn and attack Nathan from the left side. His attack was immediately followed by various side steps and relentless attacks on Nathan's vitals. Nathan could see the movement of Asher, but he couldn't predict it. Although his sword arts were better than Asher's, he could counter it. He noticed that Asher's attack not only forced him to counter it, as he always aimed for his vitals, but his grip was getting pressured. Although the small pressure could not affect Nathan, he suddenly stopped and looked at Asher, who stopped as well. "Where did you learn this sword art?" Nathan's eyes turned serious as he used his pressure on Asher so he couldn't lie. "I created it." Asher looked Nathan in the eye, and his indifferent attitude did not change. Although his breathing was fast from the duel earlier, he was fine. "How? Don't lie to me. This sword art cannot be created by a mere 14-year-old who hasn't even held a sword for more than a month in his life." Nathan stood near Asher and looked down, his red eyes meeting Asher's. The atmosphere grew so cold that the twins, who were far away from the two of them, felt scared. Asher didn't budge, as he hadn't lied about it. Although he didn't show it fully, this art was indeed created by him. "If you don't want to believe me, then don't. I have nothing to prove to anyone," Asher said as he turned to leave the training grounds. Did he really create it himself? Nathan muttered to himself. He was sure nobody could learn this much from 1 month of sword practice, but he then remembered that Asher had broken even his record of awakening. Maybe he really did it, Nathan thought. "Wait, brat. Although I still doubt it, but if you have created that art of yours, you might be more suitable for the title of the sword god." Nathan admitted that Asher might one day surpass him. Asher turned and looked at Nathan. Although your sword seems to target a human rather than a monster, Nathan knew from the moment he countered Asher's art. Don't know. Never seen somebody fight a monster. Maybe that's why. Asher lied to Nathan, but his expressionless face couldn't give him away. After all, he couldn't say the truth, that he had killed more humans than beasts in his previous life. Although your sword art is good, it's still lacking. Maybe you can find some inspiration from my sword art, Nathan said while thinking, and continued. Brat, if you want to learn my sword, I will teach you, but remember the training I will put you through will make every fiber of your being scream to quit. Can you handle it? Nathan knew what his sword art could do, so he decided to warn Asher. Don't underestimate me too much, Asher said, as he looked at Nathan. His cold gaze met Nathan, who laughed, seeing the unwavering attitude of Asher. Mind you, young boy, but even both your father and your late uncle failed to learn it from me, Nathan told him. But seeing you, I feel like you can inherit my sword, and maybe you could even improve it further, Nathan told him. Seeing that Asher was determined enough to learn from him, Nathan told the twins to leave for the day. He also told them that he would lecture them on another training ground within the estate. His sword art required a strong body and mental fortitude, and the way he would train Asher would definitely harm the unawakened twins if they stayed in the vicinity. I will train you for a week straight without stopping. Here, take this. Nathan threw a bracelet towards Asher. This has everything you will eat during the training. You will get no sleep and only this much food and water. Nathan made the barrier around the training ground stronger. So, what do I need to do? Asher asked Nathan. First, I need to push you to your body's limits before we start anything, Nathan said as he increased the pressure on Asher. He limited the pressure so Asher could still move, but doing multiple things at the same time was a difficult task. Woo, I'm ready. Asher took a deep breath and adjusted to the pressure. They began the duel again, but this time Asher didn't start with basic swordsmanship. Instead, he used his own sword art on Nathan. Asher kept dodging Nathan's strikes and tried to attack his vitals. Although Nathan could easily throw him, he still showed some openings intentionally for Asher to try to exploit. Keep your mind sharp. Don't lose focus. Nathan increased his speed a bit. Clang clang. Asher kept getting pushed back and Nathan struck the sword from above, forcing Asher to block the strike. But the moment Asher blocked it, Nathan kicked him in the gut, making him fly towards the barrier's boundary. The force behind Nathan's attack was greater than what Asher could handle for now. Cough cough. Asher was on the ground coughing, but he got up and took his stance. Nathan kept attacking and made Asher fall to the ground again and again. Nathan smiled, seeing Asher stand up despite being thrown around multiple times. Their duel lasted for an hour. Blood was dripping from Asher's face and he had multiple small wounds on his body. Despite being a wooden sword, Nathan's attack was sharp. Asher was not holding back anymore, but his rank C sword art could not handle the sword god. He was still only an early F rank, so there were limited things he could do. Try harder, brat. If you give up now, you'll never learn this in your life, Nathan said as he waited for Asher to get up again. I'm ready. Asher had a calm expression but his mouth was full of blood. His arms were tired from blocking multiple attacks, making his reaction sluggish. Nathan kept attacking Asher's blind spots to measure his reactions. Nathan was surprised to see that Asher, despite his state, could still react well enough. The floor around Asher was covered with his sweat and blood. Although this much amount of bleeding would not harm Asher much, but he would still feel weak losing so much blood during the fight. It's enough for now. Sit down here with your legs crossed, Nathan stopped. Ads by Pub Future. Close your eyes and let me widen your mana veins with my mana. It will be painful, but don't lose focus of where my mana is going or all this will be useless, Nathan instructed strictly. Asher sat down and closed his eyes, removing his shirt. He felt Nathan's boiling mana flood into his body. The moment Nathan channeled his mana into Asher's mana veins, Asher felt a huge amount of pain. But this amount of pain was bearable for him. His mana veins are already widened. Nathan was surprised by Asher's body. He didn't know that Asher's new bloodline had already recreated his mana veins to support his new abilities. Asher was capable of being both a mage and swordsman, and his huge mana pool and dense mana veins would not hinder his progress in either path. Nathan's mana was flowing through Asher's body, unlocking some of his blocked veins. His mana was forcibly opening the blockages, a process so dangerous that only Nathan, with the help of his bloodline's ability to control mana, could perform it. Thin threads of mana could be seen throughout Asher's body if someone looked through his skin. Asher's body was releasing blood from his pores. This was different from awakening, as Nathan was disrupting the natural path of Asher's mana circulation and creating new paths by forcibly opening the blocked veins. Less than host has increased strength plus 2 greater than. Less than host has increased mana plus 3 greater than. Less than host has increased strength plus 1 greater than. Less than host has increased strength plus 1 greater than contemporary romance. Less than host has increased mana plus 2 greater than. Less than host has increased mana plus 2 greater than. Many notifications popped up, but Asher carefully felt what Nathan was doing. He was sure that even his dad and Eva could not do this. And he was right, this was only the foundation of what Nathan would make him go through before starting to teach him his sword art. After an hour, Nathan stopped and said, "Try to channel your mana the way I just showed you, but control your breathing while doing so." Nathan stepped aside as Asher, who was sitting shirtless and covered in bruises and blood, focused on channeling his mana from his mana core. He felt all the previous pain and tiredness leave his body as his stamina increased rapidly. How? Asher was surprised that a normal mana circulation method could achieve this. This is not any normal circulation technique, brat. This is something only I know in this whole world, and only someone with the blood of the Greville can learn this technique without dying. Our mana manipulating bloodline abilities allow us to perform this technique without damaging our mana veins and becoming cripples, Nathan explained. But Dad would have achieved this much as well. Asher knew that this was not the difficult part of the training. You are correct. My sword art is not something you can master. Nathan knew that Asher would not be able to learn his sword art. Though you can learn it and apply it to your own art, creating something new. Nathan, who was a great sword user like Arthur, knew the limitations of his sword art. What is a sword to you, boy? Nathan asked as he looked at Asher. A sword is a medium to reflect my inner self, Asher truthfully answered, as his sword art was an imitation of his inner madness. Correct. A sword without intent and will is a useless piece of metal, Nathan said as he took a wooden sword and slashed the air in the training ground, breaking the sword due to the sheer force of the attack. This is what brute force will do to you, but if you reflect your own self in it, even the weakest sword could kill the mightiest, Nathan said as he took another wooden sword and slashed the air again, causing a massive crack in the training ground. He waved his hands, removing the dust that rose due to his attack. You saw it right. In our previous duel, I changed the trajectory of my sword without changing its momentum, which should have been impossible to begin with. Nathan looked at Asher, who nodded. He still couldn't comprehend how Nathan managed to do it. Do you know the difference between a sword and a greatsword, apart from their size? Nathan asked. Their center of mass is different, which makes swinging each of them completely different from one another, Asher replied. He had tried to learn the greatsword in his previous life, but eventually chose the sword because it suited him better. That's right. This also results in different momentum between the two weapons in each swing, Nathan added as he demonstrated his technique to Asher. He slashed the sword diagonally, but at the end of the swing, his sword moved in the opposite direction without losing its original momentum. This is the first technique of my sword, and I call it the phantom swing, Nathan told Asher, who was observing the technique, trying to understand how it worked. Although there are other techniques, they are not suitable for you as a single-handed sword user, Nathan advised. Do you remember the circulation technique I taught you? Nathan asked Asher. Try closing your eyes and sense the mana distortion in the space around you, Nathan suggested. He stepped away from Asher to give him room to sense the mana in his surroundings. This kid, he's a monster. He learned what took me days in just an hour, Nathan muttered to himself. Asher closed his eyes and held the sword. He tried to sense the mana particles in the space around him. He could sense millions of small globs of white particles, but the concentration required made him feel slightly dizzy. Despite feeling nauseous and his head heavy, Asher's high intelligence stat, which was way above the average person's, allowed him to persist for a short while. Less than host has increased mana +1 greater than. Opening his eyes, he looked at Nathan and asked, "What's next?" "It seems this part of the training will be easy for you," Nathan said, not surprised, as everyone knew that Asher's intelligence was high from a young age. "Use the circulation technique while dueling with me now," Nathan said, holding his sword towards Asher. "Okay," Asher said, taking a deep breath and focusing on controlling the flow of mana. It was a bit difficult because his mana flow was only rank C. Asher changed his stance, shifting his body weight to his right leg instead of his left. His crimson-red eyes were focused on his sword and Nathan. He made sure to keep his killing intent locked inside him. He would not be able to explain why his bloodlust was so high to an experienced person like Nathan. Focus on your sword's momentum, brat. Nathan struck Asher, who tried to dodge but the wooden sword grazed him, leaving a wound due to the force behind the strike. Nathan's control prevented the sword from breaking. Momentum, Asher repeated Nathan's words as he tried to understand what he meant. After 3 moves, Nathan allowed Asher to attack. Unlike his previous attempts, Asher changed the tempo of his sword, mixing different tempos. He was starting to grasp what Nathan was explaining, but still didn't understand how Nathan shifted the momentum without stopping it. His mind explored all the possibilities as he changed the way he swung his sword. "What your eyes may see might be an illusion, brat." Nathan deflected his sword, pushing Asher back. "Illusion," Asher muttered to himself, knowing Nathan wasn't talking about illusion magic. "What if your whole strike was a feint attack?" Nathan dropped another hint. Asher tried to swing his sword, trying various imitations. Even small things like this were increasing his sword expertise. Nathan was a little surprised to see Asher's growth in such a short time. Nathan was a prodigy in sword and nobody could claim the title of a sword god instead of him. Even Asher's talent for swords was less than Nathan, but because he regressed into the past, made Nathan assume that Asher was a bit more talented than him. Even a regressor like Asher only seemed a bit more talented to Nathan when he compared him with Asher. Nathan was a true monster, and this was the reason nobody in the world wanted to fight him. Although Nathan could not claim the title of the strongest human alive, even the strongest would avoid him if they could. Asher's area of expertise was his comprehension skills. He could walk the path of sword and mage at the same time, excelling in both. His talent made him unstoppable in many fights, but what was even more terrifying was his way of doing things. He used mana to dope his body beyond his limits, filling the gap between him and those far stronger. He slowly killed himself to gain power. Asher's mental and pain tolerance was very high, and even Nathan did not expect him to remain conscious the whole time. Arthur and Eva had lost consciousness many times during this training and unfortunately could not complete it as they were not able to handle what was about to come next. "Alright, it seems like you got the gist, but this one technique did not earn me the title of Sword God," Nathan said, demonstrating his second technique. Ads by Pub Future. He took a great sword from the training grounds, which had all kinds of weapons to train with. He started swinging the great sword, but what shocked Asher was that Nathan was cutting through space itself without using a space spell. How? This should be impossible. Your main element was wind, not space. Asher was surprised, but his calmness did not break. Exactly, but who said only space magic could cut through space itself? Nathan questioned Asher. Contemporary romance. What if I create a vacuum and remove the very space around my sword? What will it pass through then? Nathan spoke. What Nathan said just now might seem easy to hear, but if somebody had such mental capacity to bear such things, there would be more space mages and they would not die so young due to mental exhaustion. But doing it as a spell might be possible, but adding it to your sword swing is not possible, Asher replied with what he knew from his knowledge. In theory, if I did such swings normally, within 12 such swings even my brain would explode into a paste. Nathan looked while he smiled, listening to Asher's reply. But runes can do it. His smile grew bigger as he said those words. But normal runes can never achieve this, no way ancient runes. Asher's eyes widened as he got what Nathan was implying. Remember, the secrets only we elite families know. Nathan continued. Yes, the only person with such a rune is the principal of the World Academy, who is known for his spear arts. Asher also knew what the rune did, as the disciple of this person was someone who he knew well. Exactly, but that spear bastard is not the only one who has it. Only he was stupid enough to let the others know to open that academy. Nathan laughed. But this rune is different from what he has. It was something my father found when he cleared an SS rank dungeon. Nathan removed his shirt and channeled his rune, revealing a black dragon-like tattoo wrapping around his spine to the neck. This is one of our biggest secret, brat, and although I cannot teach my sword art to you, if you can handle this rune, you might create a sword art that is even more powerful than mine. Nathan channeled the rune and a small blackish orb appeared on his fingertips. This orb will make you fight your inner demons for your whole life whenever you rank up, and it will grow with you, Nathan explained. But this rune is sentient and it might not accept you like it rejected Arthur and Eva. The dark orb had some small tendrils coming out of it. You will go into a coma after you absorb it, but if you don't come out of the state even after 2 weeks, I will forcefully remove the rune from your body before you become comatose for your entire life. Nathan continued. The first part is a test of mental fortitude, which I believe you can do, but this rune will make you go through multiple mental trials. Although Arthur and Eva failed, but I did it, and I believe you can also go through it. But if you somehow were successful to gain the rune, let me warn you, every time you increase your mana cause rank, you will go through an intense illusion of your pasts, but it will be fine because from a young age you don't have many hateful memories. Nathan did not think that the small thing would be a major obstacle for Asher, who had the memories of his previous life. So what do you want to do? This is a curse and blessing at the same time, and the choice is yours. Nathan looked at Asher to know his wish. I didn't know there were other ancient runes, but I might not get another chance like this, Asher thought in his mind. I can handle a little more madness if that's the price to get stronger. His enemies were not weak, and even in his previous life he was only able to kill half of them. I will go through it. Asher agreed to assimilate with the rune. Hahaha, spoken like a true Greville, Nathan was glad. It could have hurt my old bones to beat some courage into your mind if you have denied this. Nathan acted weak. Is this how the rune affects your mind? Asher could not help but think of it. Clear your thoughts, you ungrateful brat. Nathan stopped his act. Eat this pill. This will provide you with all the energy so you don't need to consume anything for 2 weeks. Nathan gave him a nutritional pill and Asher immediately swallowed it. It was something that hunters carried when they went into a dungeon. Sit down and clear your thoughts. When I give you the rune, don't give up fighting it. Nathan instructed him as Asher sat down and closed his eyes, clearing his thoughts. Nathan took the dark orb near Asher's forehead. The dark orb got absorbed through the skin and a strange black mark appeared on his forehead. Less than warning, external energy detected. Greater than. Less than identifying. Source, runic. Rank, not detected, greater than. Less than. Does the host wants to continue, YN, greater than. Asher agreed when he saw there was nothing wrong in what the system detected. Suddenly Asher felt his whole body getting surrounded by cold liquid, the rune got absorbed into his brain and many unknown letters started appearing on his body. He felt like he was getting trapped inside a dark place with no source of light in it. He lost his sense of touch and could not even feel anything around him anymore. Good luck, brat, I hope you succeed. Asher could faintly hear Nathan's voice as he lost consciousness. Asher felt like he was floating in a vast space of darkness. One by one, his sense of touch, sight, and other senses disappeared. He had no sense of time or direction, and felt as though he had been there for hours. Less than. Anomaly detected. Greater than. The system detected the strange behavior of the rune. Asher suddenly felt many voices calling him. He was going through a stream of his own memories. Hello Asher. Don't kill me please. I will kill you. No. You know I felt strange when I. Demon. He is a demon. Suddenly, Asher heard many voices calling to him and saw faces of people he knew. Some of the memories were unpleasant and some so insignificant that he didn't even care what he had done to them. It felt like he was exploring something within himself. Although these memories were suddenly cut short and he would remember another one immediately. It felt like he was exploring something in himself. Less than. Energy detection confirmed. Greater than. Less than. Devil's absorption rank SSS is being used. Greater than. Less than. Rune is getting absorbed. Greater than. Meanwhile, Nathan, who had been observing Asher for 6 hours, saw many runes on his body glowing. Is the rune accepting him so early? Nathan was surprised. What's happening to this boy? Nathan was unable to use his mana to check Asher's body as it would disrupt the bonding process with the rune. He watched as letters traveled all over Asher's body, from his neck to his legs, eventually changing into lines that formed a path from his neck to his legs. This is strange. I remember it didn't happen to me. Nathan was aware that normally, it would take at least a week for the rune to bond with Asher before the process of assimilation began. But due to Asher's new bloodline, his ability overpowered the rune and forced it to be absorbed directly. Ads by Pub Future. He was right, normally Asher would have stayed in that dark space for at least a week if the rune accepted him. Only then the process of assimilation would have begun. This strange anomaly happened due to the new bloodline of Asher. The system used one of the sealed abilities of his bloodline to acquire the rune and directly absorb it. His bloodline ability overpowered the rune and forcefully absorbed it before the rune could delve deeper into his memories. Normal runes were different from ancient runes, as normal runes did not have any will of their own. Moreover, rune masters were rare and they were respected individuals. Learning runes was not a thing everyone could do, and making them was even more of a difficult task. Ancient runes on the other hand were a mystery. The only known person with such runes was the principal of the World Academy, who shared this knowledge with others. This knowledge made many people covet his powers, but who could harm him? He was a peak rank SSS hunter himself. Moreover, he was known as the strongest human alive. The ancient rune absorbed mana from Asher's body and created a runic circle on him, allowing him to maximize the efficiency of the rune and obtain all its abilities. Normally, the ancient rune would have only given Asher one capability related to his mana manipulation bloodline, but now, with his bloodline ability overpowering the rune, its full capability was unknown. Did he get a better mana manipulation ability than mine? He even sensed Livia's illness immediately, Nathan thought, confused. Well, we can find out when he reaches his second year at the academy anyways. Nathan decided to delay the training of the twins, as he felt that his attention was needed for Asher. He did not want to risk leaving him alone. In the living room of the Greville estate, Arthur was being confronted by Sylvie. He's fine, right? I couldn't even peek inside that barrier. Even Lucas and Livia's training is on hold, Sylvie worriedly asked. Don't worry, I went through it too when I was young. He'll be fine, Arthur reassured her as he sipped his morning tea. Yeah, don't worry, Mom, Amelia joined in. Lucas and Livia, why don't you guys do the basic training with me instead of that old man? Arthur suggested to the twins. Lucas and Livia looked at each other, then Lucas gave Arthur his phone. A hologram projected from it, showing a video from Nathan. You ungrateful son, if you take my students, make sure your bones are fine because I will break them to the point where you'll sit on the guild master seat for the rest of your life, doing paperwork. Nathan grinned on the video as he spoke. Arthur was not a coward, so he came up with the idea of going against Nathan's thinking. This old man is just joking, huh? Do you think I'm afraid? Arthur scoffed at Nathan's warning in his mind. And in case you think I'm joking, let me apologize to Sylvie. Sorry, Sylvie, I might have to cripple your husband, but don't hold it against me, okay? Nathan acted sad, and the video cut off. This FUC, Arthur shouted, but he stopped seeing the young twins. Ahem. Let's respect your grandfather's request if he wants to teach you guys personally. Arthur continued drinking his tea. Sylvie and Amelia wanted to laugh, but they knew better than to add fuel to the fire. The process of absorbing the rune lasted for 3 days straight, and Asher felt as if he had been in that vast space of darkness for weeks. Thanks to the system helping him, some of his senses had returned, reducing the strain on his mind. On the 4th day, Asher's whole body was covered in sweat. Multiple black lines connected to his neck, stopping around his ears, and his upper body. The runic lines started glowing again, and they covered Asher's entire head region. Inside the vast darkness, Asher could feel his brain being flooded with strange information. The ancient rune was the way knowledge was transferred, and in simpler terms, it was a medium used for transfer. Asher was absorbing the entirety of the rune without even knowing it, and Nathan also didn't know that the whole rune was being absorbed into Asher's mind. I hope you make it, brat, Nathan spoke as he watched Asher's unconscious body. At this time, apart from his sense of hearing and sight, he had regained every other sense. He could feel a unique type of mana flowing throughout his body. Inside his body, the ancient rune was merging the black lines with his mana veins as the black lines broke down into multiple small runes. These runes flowed through Asher's body's mana circulation path and finally stopped at his mana core, forming a runic ring around the center of the core. A floating ring of strange characters formed around his mana heart. The black lines on his lower body disappeared completely. Less than, runic formation, started. Greater than. Less than completion rate 3%, 4%. Greater than. Asher could feel the stinging pain near his heart as the runes were forcefully etched onto his mana core. One by one, the strange letters were absorbed into his core. Less than completion rate 10%. Greater than. Less than completion rate 20%, 27%. Greater than. After his core absorbed the rune, he felt as if his brain was being hammered. The rest of the black lines on his upper body started moving towards his head region slowly. Every time a rune's information was passed through his neurons, he felt as if his head was about to explode. His body was unconscious, and he was still trapped in the vast darkness, unable to move his body and just endure the pain. Nathan noticed that Asher's fingers were trembling, but he was still unconscious. Hang in, brat. You can do it, Nathan spoke, but Asher had no way of hearing him. Contemporary romance. Less than completion rate 31%. Greater than. Less than completion rate 42%. Greater than. Less than completion rate 57%. Greater than. Less than completion rate 63%. Greater than. Just like that, 3 days have passed. Asher's whole body was trembling in the vast darkness. He was in pain, but it was nothing compared to the pain he felt when he acquired his new bloodline. The trembling was due to his overworked neurons carrying a huge amount of information to his brain. Gaining knowledge of the rune was not like gaining information or memories. The rune imprinted its own abilities on his soul, rather than just giving him information. This meant every fiber of his being was adapting to the new abilities. It was like gaining a swordmaster's experience and becoming a swordmaster yourself without having to put in time and effort. Even if someone learned how to cast a spell, they still needed to convert the theory into something practical, which took time and effort. But the ancient rune removed that requirement. It was like gaining complete mastery over a spell just by learning it without casting it once. As the week came to an end, Asher had almost fully assimilated with the rune. His body had stopped trembling and most of the black lines had disappeared, with only a few remaining around his ears and forehead. Less than completion rate, 99%. 100% greater than. Less than rune assimilation done greater than. Host received the rune of Airden. Asher opened his eyes and looked at Nathan, who was proudly smiling back at him. Congrats, brat. You've achieved something nobody in our family has done since me, Nathan exclaimed, quite happy for Asher that he momentarily forgot something important he wanted to ask him. Asher opened his eyes and saw Nathan, who congratulated him. Feeling tired and dizzy, he wanted to rest for a bit. He tried to stand up but found his body's reaction was delayed. Don't move too much for now. Relax and clear your mind until you regain full control of your body. And don't try to use the rune right away, Nathan warned. I have to go tell your parents about you, but your training is not over yet, brat, so don't run away, Nathan laughed before disappearing into thin air. Asher was covered in sweat, and the odor was unpleasant. After resting for a few minutes, he regained control of his body and was able to move all his limbs perfectly. He went to the shower room at the training grounds, turned on the water, and as the cold water hit his head, he moved his hair upwards. Phew! Let's see the gains from all of this, Asher thought to himself. System, show me my status, he called out, eager to see his progress. Fate Devourer System. Name, Asher von Ravengrevel. Level, 7, EXP 0, 7000. Bloodline, Devil's Absorption Rank SSS. Blessing, Goddess of Time, Sealed. Body Constitution, Mana Core Rank A. Shop Quests, Synthesis. Attributes. Strength, 40 plus 4. Agility, 30. Endurance, 45 plus 5. Intelligence, 55 plus 50. Mana, 60 plus 6. Stamina, 47. Charm, 60. Fate, 5730. AP, 30. SP, 12. Contemporary Romance. Adds by Pub Future. Skills, Time Dilution, Rank S, LVL1. Absorption, Rank S, LVL1. Ash Sword Art, Rank C. Mana Flow, Rank C. Rune of Airden, New, Rank A. His fate points had increased by 2000 from the quest he completed during his birthday party. He also noticed an increase in his strength and mana stats after learning the mana circulation technique Nathan taught him. He knew he gained increased endurance stats from the whole experience Nathan made him go through. My intelligence increased by 50. Asher was surprised to see that his intelligence stat had increased the most. System, can you explain what happened when the rune entered my body? Asher asked. He had not forgotten that the system used one of his new bloodline sealed abilities, but as the system had told him, he should not have been able to use it until he increased it with skill points. Insufficient authority. Searching for other answers. The rune was trying to manipulate Asher's mind, so the system used one of the host's hidden blessings. This was a rare phenomenon and will not happen again. The system advises caution with sentient powers in the future. Asher was still not satisfied with the answer. He felt like the system was hiding information from him and he was not sure what it was. Can you interfere and use my abilities without my permission like this? The air around Asher changed and a chill spread through the atmosphere as some of his intense killing intent leaked out of his body. He hated being controlled by others. He hated bowing down to others. He did not know why, but every fiber of his being hated being forced to do something against his will. Call it arrogance, but Asher could not handle being controlled by others, no matter the circumstances. If the host's life is in danger or in unique situations where the host is unable to act, the system can use its abilities to assist. The system was created to assist in the journey and has no control over when it initiates or stops. Listening to the explanation, Asher calmed down and controlled his killing intent. Although he was still upset, if the system was really helping him, he had no reason to be angry. Forget it. Explain what the rune does and why my intelligence stat increased so much, Asher said, still annoyed by his headache. He was not sure if the sudden increase in intelligence was the cause of it or if it was from the assimilation process he just went through. The host has gained a growth-type rune. Activating Rune of Aearden. Asher watched as a black dragon-like tattoo appeared below his neck and traveled towards his right shoulder. He instantly felt that his headache was gone, and he could now easily use the knowledge he gained through the rune. Elaborating its effects. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Rune of Aearden, growth type less than rank A greater than. To increased mastery of the space element. To increased intelligence. To growth equivalent to the mana core. Activation cost, mental drain. Asterisk 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 asterisk. This rune is a growth-type rune, and due to the host's rank SSS bloodline ability, you have unlocked the rune fully. The rune will grow with the rank of the host's mana core. Some of its abilities will be unsealed and the existing abilities will be strengthened as you increase the rank of your mana core. Increased space mastery. Asher's crimson-red eyes shone as a smirk appeared on his indifferent face. As the rune did not require any mana to activate, this would be one of his trump cards. His mental drain would already be low due to his absurdly high intelligence stat. One of the reasons many space element users died early was due to the drain they experienced when they used their spells. Meanwhile, outside in the living room, as the week had passed, Arthur and Sylvie were sitting and chatting when they noticed Nathan had arrived in front of them. The twins were sleeping and Amelia had gone out, so nobody except the couple was there. Old man, what happened? Did he pass? Arthur asked eagerly, wanting to know the result. Sigh. Control yourself, you mannerless son of mine. Asher has done what you and Eva failed to do, Nathan said proudly. So is his training over? Sylvie asked, happy for Asher but wanting to confirm whether the training was complete or not. No. I will take one more week to train him thoroughly, but tell Lucas and Livia that they will also train with him now, Nathan continued. I didn't expect that brat to complete the whole process so quickly, so I will use the rest of the week to prepare him for his next dungeon run as well, Nathan said, already sitting on the dining table. Asher got out of his bath and started practicing his sword. After half an hour of talking with Arthur and Sylvie about some important stuff that had happened during the week, Nathan saw Asher training with his sword. It seems you have rested enough if you can swing your sword like this, Nathan commented. At his words, Asher stopped his training. I am trying to get the feel of what has changed after getting this rune, Asher said, as he saw Nathan pick up a sword near him. Watch, brat. I will demonstrate some of my techniques which you can imitate on your sword later, Nathan said, taking his stance. Asher was surprised to see that there was no gap visible to him in Nathan's stance, and anyone who was not more powerful than Nathan would have great difficulty injuring him. My first technique is the phantom swing, which you can imitate with a sword as well when you learn it later. Nathan swung his sword in multiple directions, going opposite to the previous one without cutting the force behind his attacks. Second technique, instead of maintaining the force of swings, amplify them into one strike, he took his greatsword again and slashed slowly towards the barrier. Bam! Even though his strike seemed weak, the barrier shook and a loud noise of clashing between two hard objects could be heard. Don't focus on the technique too hard, get the meaning behind it and you can replicate it yourself in your sword art. Nathan moved a bit backwards. Third technique allows me to pass my sword through matter itself, which takes the first technique and makes it seem like a child's play. Nathan threw a wooden sword into the air and passed his greatsword through the wooden sword as he slashed it. The greatsword easily went past the sword, as if it were going through water. This technique will require your advanced mastery in telekinesis and other teleportation space spells, and combining them together you can perform something similar to this. Nathan stopped as he watched Asher, who had his eyes fixed on Nathan's movement. I have a few more, but they are too destructive to teach here and they will not help you as a sword user as well. Combine your talent as a mage and apply it to your swordmanship, Nathan said, as he put down the greatsword. Okay, that's enough of these techniques. I've given you enough clues, and I am confident you can enhance your sword art. Let me correct your basics. Nathan smiled as Asher looked confused. My basics are perfect. I haven't made any mistakes, Asher replied confidently. No one is perfect, and every sword has flaws. You must find those flaws and exploit them to gain an advantage over your enemy, Nathan countered. Come on, I'll use only basic sword techniques against you. Come at me, I will only use basic sword techniques to defeat you. Nathan controlled his power. Asher slashed towards Nathan from the right. He was also fighting with his basic techniques. He saw that Nathan's simple counter nullified his attack. He was expecting it, so immediately launched many similar attacks on him. His slashes were getting nullified and Nathan did nothing but counter him. Asher could now understand why Nathan said he could improve his basics even further, but Nathan underestimated the capabilities of Asher in his sword. His new high intelligence made him have a better control of his killing intent, so he decided to go a bit serious against him. His eyes sharpened and his attacks got more precise. He immediately started to trap Nathan into his feints, creating a fake pattern in his swings, and after 25 such exchange of their swords he attacked Nathan from an awkward position, making him take the blow on his hand as he could not use anything other than the basics of the swords. Seeing that Nathan who was defeated due to the sudden shift of pace by him, Asher gave Nathan an arrogant smirk. This fussy ***** brat. Nathan was holding in his anger and forced himself to smile. During the duel, Nathan saw that Asher was trying to attack him from multiple angles. Hey, brat, you are 1,000 years too early to make me block you, Nathan thought as he counted each of Asher's strikes. But suddenly he noticed that Asher's behavior had changed and his gaze was a lot sharper. His gaze was similar to someone who had a lot of experience fighting others. Asher's attacks were becoming unpredictable, but Nathan could still counter most of them. This kid is good. Nathan was having fun while easily countering Asher's attack, but he needed to be careful controlling his strength, if not he could have broken Asher's arm with a simple soft counter. Oh, he is following a rhythm. Nathan noticed the pattern in Asher's sword. It was easy for him to sense it. Show me what you got, brat, Nathan spoke to himself as he pushed Asher's sword back to him. This was the moment when Asher knew that Nathan was comfortable with fighting him, and with a huge part of his attention was kept on controlling his strength. The basics of the sword they were fighting on had strict footwork and strikes, so the range of motion was limited. Asher took advantage of this fact and altered his pattern and faked the swing on his left. Oh, I will give this one to you, brat, Nathan let Asher hit him. He knew if the gap between them was not so huge, this move of Asher would have definitely caught him off guard. Despite he could have countered that, his pride as a swordsman did not let him take this win from Asher. Asher also knew that Nathan let him win this intentionally, but he still smirked at him. This was the result of him not controlling his true emotions and letting them out partially. A person could only control their true self, not change it. Masking yourself into a different person had its limits, and Asher was one such person. His mocking expression annoyed Nathan. Nathan was not a saint. He might have seemed like a happy grandpa thus far, but there was a reason most powerhouses avoided him. Nathan, who also had the rune of Airden, was constantly tormented by nightmares. Losing many people throughout his journey gave him many regrets, and his last ascension to rank SSS almost made him lose his mind. His way of acting silly was his escape from his nightmares, and Arthur, who also knew this, did not mind Nathan's constant insults and played along with him most of the times. Greville were famous for their cruel personalities throughout their history, and Nathan and Arthur both lived up to these rumors. The only normal person in the whole Greville family was probably Amelia, who was internally an honest and emotional person. This fussy ***** brat. Nathan dangerously smiled at Asher. Ads by Pub Future. Hehehehehehehehehe. It seems your basics are already perfect, so let's hone your sword versus my greatsword. Nathan came close to Asher and stared down at him with his red eyes. Asher looked small in front of his huge build. Why not? Asher was not a coward, even though he knew he had provoked Nathan. He knew this was the best way for him to learn from Nathan. He already knew the fundamentals, but what he wanted to learn from Nathan could only be learned by both of them dueling. Brat, use your mana or anything you have. We will duel until the twins come for their practice. Nathan told him. Asher calmed his mind and decided to use the new mana circulation technique during the duel. He found that he could channel his mana better now. His new intelligence boost had increased his comprehension rate, which helped him connect all the new paths Nathan created with the existing ones. Less than mana circulation technique, rank A learned greater than. He did not know what the rank given by the system was based on, but he knew that the circulation technique was better than the one he used in his previous life. Mana started coating his body and strengthening it. He focused his mana on his limbs and increased the force behind his attack. Asher dashed and attacked Nathan, who disappeared from his place and kicked him on the back. Thud. Asher landed on the ground as he crouched with one of his hands on the ground. Why so weak, brat? Nathan smirked back at him. Asher had a calm face, but he was not going to settle down with this much. He saw Nathan, who appeared in front of him, and saw his greatsword coming towards him from above. He braced his legs, blocking the force. Arg! Asher used more mana as he strengthened his limbs even more. He pushed the greatsword back but could not move Nathan from his position. Knowing this, he immediately took 2 steps back from his position. Clang clang. Asher and Nathan were sharing many blows, but Asher kept getting pushed back because the force behind the greatsword was too much to completely nullify it. Asher was using their height difference to dodge most of the swings Nathan struck him with. Asher was timing his strikes because the reach of the greatsword was greater than his sword. Come on, brat, show me that smug expression of yours. Nathan was not going to let Asher out easily. Call him petty, but he was having a blast tormenting Asher and removing his escape routes every time he attacked him. Asher was panting heavily, but his focus was not broken at all. He was used to fighting people while breaking his own body. This made him lose the sensation of stopping when he felt tired. They went like this for a whole 20 minutes, and Nathan found it surprising that Asher was not quitting at all. He decided to stop the duel by using the force behind his greatsword to send Asher flying back when he tried to block it. Asher focused on his wrists and braced the impact, but he still crashed onto the wall. At this moment he was gasping for air. But he still stood up. There was a reason even after killing numerous people, Asher was still alive until the day he regressed. Although his body was not able to keep up with his mentality. Let's stop, brat, get some rest while I train those two. Nathan stopped as he looked at Lucas and Livia, who excitingly looked at both of them fighting for quite some time. Okay, Asher replied while breathing heavily. Okay, so did you two practice what I taught you? Nathan asked them. The twins looked up and replied, yes, at the same time. Good job, brats. Now I will teach you guys some other things before your awakening next week. Nathan started teaching various martial arts which would help them regardless of the result they got from their awakening. Lucas wanted to follow the path of the sword as he admired Asher, but Livia on the other wanted to learn to wield the greatsword. It was odd for a girl who liked cute things to get fascinated by Nathan's swordplay. After teaching the twin and Asher getting a rest of 2 hours, they again started their duel. Nathan held back a little, unlike his previous duel where he wanted to thrash Asher around. Asher tried various techniques he came up with. The whole week, Nathan had Asher focus solely on swordsmanship training. He didn't train him to improve his physical strength or mana. Nathan knew that there were others at the World Academy who could teach Asher better. After their last duel, Asher went to the shower room to wash his body covered with sweat. Multiple blue and black spots could be seen on his upper body. Nathan went ahead and made sure that Asher knew who was the boss in this family. This week, even though his sword mastery had increased quite a bit, he was still working on mixing the style of sword with his current one. He knew that he would be able to invent a new sword style if he went through more battles. As the water dripped down on his well-chiseled muscles, he was thinking of what he was going to do next. He knew that the dungeon in the mountain range he purchased would appear soon. He was now free to enter the dungeons of his level alone, but Emmy would still follow him to the dungeon gate. Lucas will go through his awakening tomorrow. I can take him there with me. Asher decided to take Lucas with him as he knew what he was capable of doing. He got out of the bath and finally exited the training ground after 2 weeks. He went back to his room because it was early in the afternoon and he decided to get some sleep before dinner. The curtains were shut but dim sunlight could pass through them, and which gave a woody vibe to the room. Asher had always disliked loud places. He looked at the painting which stood near his bed. After his increased mental strength, he was able to place a lid on his inner madness, but he was unable to control it. Looking at the painting, he felt that the burden on his mind, the constant thoughts that drove him mad, were gone. Contemporary romance. I should go to sleep for now. Dinner would be too chaotic due to the dungeon explosion anyways. Asher leaned down on his soft bed feeling drowsy. With his chaotic thoughts gone, he went to sleep. The dungeon explosion where Nathan should have died was going to happen during the time they were having their dinner. Asher woke up and changed into other clothes. He got ready to arrive in the dining room. As he entered the room, he noticed everyone was present there, including the twins. Livia was chatting with Amelia while Lucas was keeping it to himself. Welcome, Ash, you look so thin. Sylvie got up and hugged Asher as she saw him after 2 weeks. Hello brother, Lucas and Livia also greeted him. Come on, sit down now. Arthur, who was sitting, told Sylvie so that the dinner could start. Meanwhile, hours before in the Abyss Guild camp in Lost Lands. When will the Guild Master return? One of the hunter asked his team captain. Anytime soon. Young Master's party was already over 2 weeks ago. The team captain replied to him. Hey, can't we explore the dungeon a bit more on our own? One of the hunter who was eating his meal asked him. Don't speak nonsense. The final authority lies with the Guild Master and his orders were to wait until he returns. If you wanna die at the hands of higher executives, go alone, don't ask me. The team captain immediately replied. The camp was located near the teleportation gate on the outer region of the Lost Lands, allowing for a quick retreat in case of emergency. The inner region had many high-ranking beasts that were dangerous at night. Nathan had instructed the team to stop exploring until he returned, as even the SS rank teleportation gate couldn't guarantee safety. Suddenly the alarm system which was established into the camp for any beast invasions at night and other threats started going off. Warning. Mana fluctuations high. Warning. Mana fluctuations high. Warning. ... What happened? All of them stood up as they listened to the security alarm going off. Mana fluctuations, but it was a blue gate. One of young hunter asked the team captain. Forget it, evacuate right now. The team captain shouted, contemporary romance. Forget it, evacuate now. The captain shouted, leave the equipment, take the artifacts, and hurry to the teleportation gate. Hurry UP. Ads by Pub Future. The SS rank dungeon gate in the outer region of the Lost Lands was glowing blue with cracks visible. This was a rare event known as a dungeon explosion, which usually happened in red gates. If the gate was left uncleared, a dungeon explosion would occur, followed by a dungeon breakout. The executives of the Abyss Guild had arrived near the teleportation gate, and as more people teleported out, the executives followed suit. The valuable artifacts and other items had already been picked up, so they could easily abandon the camp. Although there would be significant damage, the monetary loss would easily be recovered. The space inside the dungeon was filled with a white light as several space cracks appeared. The mana forced itself out from the gate, resulting in a huge explosion in the outer region that covered 1 kilometer and destroying half the camp. Boom! The mana spread around from the dungeon, and the resulted explosion destroyed everything in its path. Bright light illuminated the dark forests of the Lost Lands, waking up many beasts due to the shock waves of the explosion. Most of the ecosystem surrounding the gate had turned into a huge crater. A spatial crack was noticed in the center of the crater, from which monsters could be observed emerging. Outside the teleportation gate, one of the executives spoke, called the Guild Master. We need to notify him about this immediately. The other hunters meanwhile were thanking their luck that they could escape in time. We got so lucky, one of the hunters present said. We would have been obliterated if the Guild Master hadn't gone back, he continued. Who could have thought that this blue gate would become unstable suddenly? The team captain replied as he counted to make sure every team member was present. The person managing the teleportation gate was surprised to see so many hunters appear out of nowhere, but upon seeing that they were from the Abyss Guild, he did not stop them. One of the executives present explained the situation to him, while the other executives were already collecting artifacts and calculating the damage. In the Greville estate, as they began their dinner, Stephen suddenly appeared in the dining room. What happened? Arthur asked his butler. A mana explosion has occurred in the dungeon where Lord Nathaniel was exploring, Stephen immediately informed him. What? The atmosphere went cold as Nathan shouted, though he immediately regained his composure. The damage is still being calculated, but the guild members have safely teleported, so no casualties have been found, Stephen finished his report. Okay, I will take care of it. Arthur stood up, needing to ensure everything was alright. I am going to the site directly. The monsters might cross the border, so they will need me there. Nathan immediately disappeared from the dining room. Ding! Less than quest completed greater than. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Objective. Save Nathaniel von Greville from dying. Rewards. 100 fate points. Penalty. -20 all stats, -80 fate points. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Recalibrating the reward. Closing square bracket. Reward changed into 1000 fate points. Asher, still sitting in the living room, spoke in his mind, why did the reward change? Fate reward is greater the more fate you have and lesser the less fate you have. Due to the fact that Asher had increased his fate points, he gained extra fate points for the quest of saving Nathan. Kids, you go to sleep. I will take you guys for awakening tomorrow, Sylvie told the twins as she needed to help Arthur with the current situation. Okay, the twins nodded as they finished their meal. Stephen, increase the security around the estate. And tell Emmy to meet me. Sylvie also left to join Arthur. The dining room was now awkward, with only Amelia and the twins sitting opposite Asher, who was calmly eating his dinner. Amelia kept quiet, avoiding Asher as she always did to avoid making more trouble with him. The last duel with Elena was still fresh in her memories. Brother, can I train with you? Lucas asked Asher. Asher did not mind Lucas calling him brother, as he got more comfortable with him. Lucas had helped Asher more than anyone in his previous life, even dying for him. Asher was not an ungrateful person, so he respected Lucas because of it. No, Asher denied Lucas. He knew Lucas was not going to follow the path of swordsmanship like him. His bloodline ability gave him a massive mana pool and his talent lay in the path of magic. Asher would not change it. Handing a bow to someone with a talent for spears would only limit their potential, and he had no need for wasted potential in his future plans. Okay. Lucas looked a bit sad, but he did not argue with Asher and accepted his decision. Amelia wanted to say something, but she decided against it. She needed her shield, Damien, before speaking with Asher. Livia, on the other hand, wanted to learn from Nathan, but he had gone outside for an emergency, denying her the chance to learn from him. She would not be able to train with him until he returned to the estate, and she did not know when that would be. Outside the Greville estate, Arthur was driving his car with Sylvie sitting beside him. No one spoke as they drove to the guild building where Arthur and Sylvie's office was located. Arthur was in a strange mood, and Sylvie knew what he was thinking, but she remained silent. Huh, that old man really dodged a bullet, Arthur laughed as he drove. He could have traveled to his office using his body, but driving his car helped relieve his stress. This was one of the reasons why many powerful people in the world, who could cover long distances in mere seconds, still drove around in their cars. It's okay, Arthur, Sylvie said no more. Arthur knew Nathan could have died that day, and although people died in this world, losing someone close to you still made you sad and depressed. Losing Eva was a painful experience for Arthur, which made him spend even more time battling monsters and risking his life in dungeons. Nathan, knowing this, made him the wise guild master, forcing him to manage the work from behind his desk. Asher headed to the training grounds instead of his room because he wasn't feeling sleepy. Amelia and the twins, however, were tired and went to sleep. The heightened security surprised the mansion staff, but they were accustomed to it, so everything went smoothly. For the last 2 weeks, the entire Somalia and internet had been buzzing about the same topic, the leaked news of Asher's duel with Elena. Many people were speculating whether it would lead to a clash between the two elite families. The result of the duel between Asher and Elena had sparked intense speculation and discussion among the citizens of Somalia and the internet. The revelation of Eva Greville having children had only added fuel to the fire. However, amidst all the chaos, one person was watching this news as a chance, the individual for whom Asher had gone to extra mile in his fight against Elena. Their identity remained a mystery, but their significance in the events to come was unmistakable. Arthur was occupied with establishing a new camp in the Lost Lands. The camp consisted of several buildings that facilitated the daily lives of hunters. The Abyss Guild's camp alone was worth billions of ore, but the abundance of resources in the Lost Lands made the investment worth it. Nathan was already battling the monsters that had emerged from the dungeon break. The high level of mana in the environment attracted many beasts to the outer region, but Nathan's goal was to defeat the boss monster. SS-rank monsters had the potential to destroy cities, and while the other hunters focused on eliminating the rest of the monsters, Nathan took on the boss monster. Sylvie had left Arthur because it was the day the twins were going to undergo their awakening. Unlike Asher, they would use a rank mana gem for the process. S-rank mana gems were highly valuable, and even a rank mana gems were a luxury only the wealthiest people could afford. Most of the elite families used rank B mana gems for the awakening. It was early in the morning and Livia and Lucas were in the mana training room where Asher usually practiced his mana manipulation. Amelia was also present, as this was a significant day for the twins. Livia was a bit nervous, but Lucas was calm. Asher was there out of curiosity to see how long it would take for Lucas to complete his awakening. Sylvie asked the twins, "Do you remember how I taught you to manipulate the mana?" "Yes," Livia exclaimed, and Lucas nodded in agreement. The twins were comfortable with Sylvie as she treated them kindly. Without any parental figure, they were not used to relying on others. "Okay, Emmy, you help Livia, and I'll help Lucas," Sylvie instructed. Sylvie and Emmy would only control the flow of mana until the twins could handle it on their own. The twins sat down wearing gym clothes, with Sylvie and Emmy standing behind them. Only Emmy and other family members were present in the mana training room. They had already arranged the rank A mana gems, which were bright yellow and had intense mana within them. These gems could aid rank B and rank A hunters in their progress, but only the purity of the mana mattered in awakening. Most of the mana would be used to create a mana heart, while the rest would be used gradually over time during the awakening. Emmy and Sylvie's role was to regulate the supply of mana so that the twins' mana veins were not overloaded, which could cause permanent injury. "We will begin now. Focus on feeling the flow of mana inside your body," Sylvie told the twins, who immediately followed her instructions. Asher watched as they absorbed the mana from the gem. He was surprised to see that Livia was keeping pace with Lucas's speed in creating a mana heart. Although Asher's time for creating a mana heart was even less, as he was already familiar with the process. "It seems I can take both of them in the dungeon if it goes like this," Asher thought to himself. He had expected only Lucas to perform well, but seeing Livia's progress, he realized that he could bring her along as well. "Well, it doesn't matter. I can still go all out in front of them," Asher considered. He knew that the twins were unfamiliar with many things, so they would find Asher's use of his bloodline strange. His only concern was that if someone experienced like Emmy followed him, it could cause some difficulties, but that would change in the near future. Ads by Pub Future. Asher wasn't going to sit around and hide his powers. He knew that doing so would only create more problems in his future plans. The people he wanted to destroy were not weak, and he was only hesitant because he couldn't control his inner mind after his regression. However, the recent boost in his stats had relieved his problem to some extent. World Academy, Asher thought about his plans for the World Academy. The academy was located on a floating island above Soren, and entry and exit from it was strictly controlled. However, Asher knew a way around it. Students were not allowed to leave the island freely after enrolling in the World Academy, unless they were given a mission or there was a special event. Most of their time would be spent on the island. This often created diplomatic issues, as various powers in Somaria could target the children of other powerful families outside Somaria. However, Knowing who owned the World Academy eliminated any such thoughts. Not only was the principal powerful, but the teachers and staff were also influential figures. Contemporary romance. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Meanwhile in Rothschild estate in Desmar. How the hell can't you control a child? James was shouting at Louis, and Elena was standing beside him with her head low. I told you one thing only, don't make a mess there. And what I hear now. Not only did you make a mess at the party in front of all those people, but Elena also lost badly to that Greville bastard. James was angry at the loss of reputation for the Rothschild family, as well as her daughter getting badly beaten by Asher. I will take responsibility in UKGH, Louis was saying something, but James immediately used his SS rank pressure on him, causing him to get on his knees. And do what? Create a bigger mess. James' eyes were glaring at Louis. Do you see the seal right here? I've been looking at this for a whole week. James threw a letter on Louis's face, and he saw the black envelope with a golden crow's sigil on it. Forget Nathaniel Greville, we would also make enemies with the Raven as well. James shouted at him. But Dad, I was only trying to. Elena tried to step in to calm her father, but. Shut up, go in your room, and you are not allowed out of your room until I change my mind. James was controlling himself a lot. Okay, Elena had slight tears in the corner of her eyes, but she didn't want to argue with her angry father, so she decided to leave for now. And Louis, don't make another mess for now, just stay low or go help with the guild work. You are not allowed to leave Desmar until you take my permission. Listening to James, Louis quietly walked out of James's office room. James was frustrated from the moment he heard this news 2 weeks ago. He immediately ordered Louis to bring Elena back to Desmar. The last thing he wanted was Elena creating another mess in Soren. This event was a huge blow to the reputation of the Rothschild family. Greville, James muttered to himself as he sat back in his seat. Hurting my daughter in public, this time you made the wrong enemy, Arthur Greville. James' killing intent filled his room. James would not sit around and do nothing against the Greville. Although the influence Rothschild had in Somalia was not even close to what Greville had, but in Desmar, it was different. I was skeptical of holding hands with the Whiteheart family, but it seems we were meant to be enemies anyway. A flame appeared in his hands, burning down the letter that came in the black envelope in his hands. This was the warning letter Alfred Raven had sent to him. Although James knew that it was mostly Elena's fault, but after hearing how brutally Asher had injured her, he was not able to ignore it. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Livia and Lucas were still going at the 3 hours 50-minute mark, but Livia stopped there. Amelia was surprised to see that Livia performed so well. Her body was red, and most of the baby fat in her face was gone, making her face look sharp. Lucas, on the other hand, was still going on. Most of their impurities had left their bodies, and Lucas was focusing on cleaning his mana veins. Lucas was surprised to see that he could form a mana core so easily and make it flow through his veins. This was due to his S-rank bloodline ability, which was centered around controlling his core. Asher knew that Lucas had an S-rank bloodline ability, but he did not know what ability Livia possessed. Amelia was happy to see that Livia was also a talented genius and quietly congratulated her as they waited for Lucas to complete his awakening. Lucas's whole body was red, and he was focusing on controlling the flow of his mana as he continued to consume the rank A mana gem. Seeing that he was able to control the mana so well, Amelia also stepped back and let him continue his work. At 4 hours and 9 minutes, Lucas stopped as well. He had surpassed Kevin's record, who was considered a prodigy of this generation. Sylvie and Amelia were happy to see that the twins were so talented, and this would help them make their own name in the future. Congratulations, Lucas and Livia. Sylvie hugged the twins, and they also hugged her in return. Can I train with a sword now? Lucas's eyes shone as he asked this question. Sylvie looked a bit troubled, but she needed to tell him now before his hopes grew bigger. Lucas, you have a huge mana pool, so you have the talent for magic, Sylvie calmly explained why he could not choose the path of swords. Okay. Lucas looked a bit gloomy. He wanted to practice and learn from Asher, who he saw as his idol, but it seemed he was not suited for the path of the sword. Oh, come on, being a mage is more fun. Amelia tried to cheer him up. Asher didn't say anything as he knew Lucas would be happier being a mage in the World Academy than being a swordsman. What path should I choose? Livia was eager to learn about her talents. You can choose the path of the sword, sweetheart. Sylvie checked her mana veins and told her. This made Lucas even sadder. He wanted to become a protector for Livia, not someone who would rely on her and cast spells from the back. He didn't like being a mage one bit. Don't worry, Lucas, I will protect you from now on. Livia puffed out her chest and tried to cheer up her brother. Lucas didn't reply and just smiled back at her. He was happy to see that Livia was cheerful. Okay, you guys go and practice now and feel the mana inside your body, Sylvie instructed them. Livia, if Grandpa Nathan comes back on time, you can learn from him, or Arthur will take some time to train you. And Lucas, you can learn from me after you finish consolidating the mana inside your body, Sylvie patted Lucas's head. I will see you guys a bit later. I need to inform Arthur about this good news as well, Sylvie smiled and left the room. 4 talents in the same family meant that the Grevilles had even more power in the future. Although there were others who were also talented, nobody had 4 such talented youngsters in their household. This also meant that the moment this news leaked, many powers could try to harm these kids. Sylvie was not only going to inform Arthur but assign personal guards, like Emmy, to the other 3 as well. Amelia already had some security following her around, but she did not have a personal bodyguard like Emmy. Although the twins and Amelia might not feel that comfortable with their new guards, it was a necessary step for their security. Ads by Pub Future. I will leave as well. You guys can carry on. Asher also left after Sylvie. Okay. I will stay with you guys if you encounter any problems, Amelia started instructing them based on her experience. Emmy, assign someone to keep watch in the mountain range I have bought recently, and if something happens there, inform me as soon as possible. Asher instructed Emmy. He was sure this was the month when the dungeon opened in the mountain range, and after that dungeon gate opened, Asher could finally carry out the plans he made for his new company. And get me a guy from the Information Guild, use my name for it. He knew that because Sylvie's family owned the biggest Information Guild, using his own name, he could get the information needed much faster rather than going for an anonymous approach. As you wish, young master. Emmy left to get the tasks done, and Asher went to his training grounds to practice his sword. When he trained alone, he could perform without holding back since there was no one to watch him. The training grounds were covered with runes and only authorized personnel could enter without setting off an alarm. A week went by, and Nathan returned to teach the twins. Sylvie had already taught Lucas about basic spells and what he could achieve with his current abilities. Currently, both twins were G-rank hunters, but Lucas had formed an F-rank corps, which would allow him to reach F-rank earlier than Livia, who had formed a G-rank corps. Nathan taught the twins the mana circulation technique, but it took them some time to perform it perfectly. Nathan was patient and waited for them to master the technique before moving forward. Arthur sometimes joined for a casual spar with Nathan to show the twins his moves, but Nathan always defeated him. They limited their strength to ensure the twins could observe and learn from their fights. Asher, who was intrigued, sometimes watched to analyze their fights and identify gaps in their attacks. Asher had never seen Nathan's swordsmanship in his previous life as he wasn't interested in training and because of Nathan's sudden death. He could now see why their enemies showed their true colors after his death. Although Arthur was also an SS rank hunter, Nathan could easily overpower him. Asher could see the raw talent and effort behind Nathan's strength. After learning the mana circulation technique, Nathan also taught Livia, who was interested in using the greatsword. Impressed by her enthusiasm, Nathan decided to teach her the basics. However, he was surprised at how quickly she learned, making him hesitate on whether to give her the rune. He decided to teach her a bit more and wait before making a decision. Meanwhile, Lucas focused on learning basic elemental spells to protect his family. He didn't lament his less talent for swords than magic. This continued for over 2 weeks. One evening, Asher came out of training and saw Emmy waiting for him. "Young master, a blue dungeon gate has appeared in the mountain range, and the mana readings show that it is a rank dungeon," Emmy reported. Finally, Asher thought, smiling inwardly. "I'll use it to test my training so far. Register it under a stack, and ask the twins if they want to join me." Emmy looked troubled. "But young master, it might be too soon for them to have such a scary experience. Contemporary romance. Don't forget what that kid did before we took him from that place, and don't worry, tell mom about it. She will not deny it." Listening to his orders, Emmy nodded as she left to inform the twins. She had already accepted Asher as an anomaly, but she was not sure about taking the twins to a dungeon. "Yes, I will go." Lucas immediately agreed to go with Asher. Brother, but the dungeon is a dangerous place. We should train a bit more." Livia was unsure. They were only 10 years old and G-rank hunters, so going into an A-rank dungeon was not the best idea. "Don't worry, just follow Asher, but don't fight monsters above F rank. I'm sure you guys can defeat an F rank monster together." Sylvie knew that Asher wouldn't make them fight any monster above F rank, so she accepted his decision because the twins needed some experience to continue their training further. "Wait, I will also go with them. It will be dangerous if only the brother goes with them." Amelia decided to go with the twins. She was an F rank hunter herself, the same rank as Asher, so she could protect them just fine. "Okay, this will be a good bonding time for you guys." Sylvie was happy that Amelia would go with Asher, but they forgot that they hadn't told Asher about this. Asher had only told Emmy to ask the twins to come with him, as he wanted Lucas to get the first experience of facing a monster. This would help him realize his shortcomings and train with a goal in mind. "Okay, you guys can go tomorrow. Emmy, follow them to the dungeon gate, and if you sense any irregularities in the dungeon, take the team inside to help them. And tell Asher to wear the safety device at all times," Sylvie ordered. Asher was busy with his training and didn't attend dinner, so he was still unaware of Amelia joining them. When morning arrived, Asher got ready for his dungeon run, wearing his black combat outfit with straps to hold his sword, a storage ring, and a nano armor bracelet. As he walked into the lobby, he saw Amelia and the twins dressed in their combat outfits. Although he expected only Lucas to come with him, he was surprised to see Amelia, a frown appearing on his face. "Why are you here?" he asked Amelia. "I came to follow you guys and protect the twins. Just for assurance that nothing bad happens," Amelia replied quickly. Asher's cold gaze then turned towards Emmy. "Why wasn't I informed?" "I apologize, young master," Emmy said, hanging her head down. "I forgot to inform you about this." She didn't realize that Asher wanted to keep his powers hidden and Amelia joining them was a problem for him. "Wait, don't scold her," Amelia interjected, seeing Emmy's apologetic face. "It was my idea, and Mom's, for me to go with you. But don't worry, I won't interfere with your fights. I'm just going to help these two since it's their first time," Amelia explained to Asher. Although Asher was already annoyed with the situation, he decided to let Amelia come with them. He had planned to take Lucas with him to get him comfortable with fighting F-rank monsters at G-rank, but he would have to change his plans. Fine, but exit the dungeon when I tell you guys, and don't question my decisions, Asher said in an old voice, making everyone quiet. Lucas followed him quietly, but he was disappointed that his chance to accompany Asher throughout the dungeon was ruined. Amelia and Livia also followed behind him as Emmy followed them with the security team with her.